Some new abilities. We have Stampeding Roar, which is basically another dash. However, this is going to be usable in both bear form and cat. And that's pretty cool. We have a kick now as Feral Druid. So I guess we had a kick before on Feral Charge Bear. However, you're no longer going to need to go to bear form to kick the target. This has a 10-second cooldown. It's going to lock the target out for 4 seconds. And also, it has a 13-yard range, which is kind of cool. We also gain access to Thrash and Bear. Bear form actually does some pretty decent damage in Cataclysm. So the times when you're forced to go bear form, you're not actually totally irrelevant. Of course, it's less damage than cat. And I, of course, get parried on the train dummy. So basically, you have like that short AoE bleed. Some other things that we had previous that are now different. Savage Roar is no longer going to be the same. Beforehand, it was like a 30% damage increase, and it was really important to keep up all the time. In PvP, this is no longer going to be the case because in Cataclysm, Skull Bash is changed to make our auto attacks deal 80% increased damage. It's still obviously going to be a good damage increase in PvE, but it adds a little bit of flexibility as far as the rotation goes. This can still have its uses. If you're getting kited and you have combo points, you need to proc an instant cyclone. Yeah, we're keeping instant cyclone in Cataclysm, which is really nice. And you have points and you're getting kited. Maybe you're stuck in a route. That's the next change. Yeah, you could use Savage Roar to get that clone. But what I was going to say now is, yeah, we will no longer be able to shift routes. If you want to shift routes, you have to play Resto Druid. They decided in Cataclysm long time ago that basically Feral was really crazy at the start of Season 9, so they nerfed Feral Druid, and then it was no longer able to shift routes. Fortunately, what this means for us is we are able to deal a lot of damage still, which is pretty cool. Damage is fun. However, you are going to have a little bit harder time in some of those 1v1s. Also, we now have access to our Mastery ability, which basically, whenever we deal damage, we have a 50% chance to gain an Absorb Shield equal to a percentage of our attack power. And in addition to that, when we're in cat form, we have a different Mastery, which many of you may know already, that it increases our bleed damage, which is pretty cool. All right, one other change here, as well as hopping into the talents. In the first row, we have Feral Swiftness. This is the thing that increases our movement speed in cat form. This is also our replacement for being able to shift routes. Basically, we have Dash and Stampeding Roar will now remove routes. There's some macros I'll include later in the video that really help with this, because I believe there's an issue, or at least there was an issue, where you couldn't use Dash over top of Stampeding Roar and vice versa. It would tell you a more powerful spell was active. And so these are the talents that I'm starting off with level 80. I will go over these here more in a sec when I show you the level 85 talents. If you want these for level 80, go ahead and copy it. Here are the glyphs for Feral Druid. I'm using these at level 80, and yeah, so anyway, Glyph of Berserk increases the duration of Berserk by 10 seconds. One other change too, I guess we'll throw that in there. Berserk no longer provides fear immunity. Definitely that's not as cool, you know, but that was pretty busted. Also fit more with the times. But anyway, Glyph of Rip, 15% periodic damage. Nothing to really argue here. This is our best overall damage finisher that we have access to as a Feral Druid. And then the last slot here, you can choose between going for a Glyph of Mangle, or you can go for Bloodletting. Shred and Mangle in Cat will increase the duration of Rip by 2 seconds up to a maximum of 6. This is probably better than Mangle in a lot of scenarios. However, if you're having trouble landing shreds, because, you know, since we can't shift routes now, you're stuck in routes more, your option to be behind the target is going to be more limited. So Glyph of Mangle is pretty good. If you look at the tooltips between Glyph of Mangle and Shred, they are actually very similar. The Mangle has the extra, it actually adds the percentage to the tooltip. So if you don't have the glyph on, they'll both say 540% weapon damage plus whichever. The only difference being Shred does gain 30% damage from having Mangle, as well as an additional, I think, 20% from Rend and Tear. So it does end up doing a lot more damage. But I mean, if you can't land it, you don't want to be overcapping energy. You would rather just get out more finishers or more combo points, generate more combo points, get off more finishers, etc. For the major glyphs, we're going to be using Bark Skin, reduces 25% crit. Well, Bark Skin's the other talent I really want to talk about is Natural Reaction. So this talent is insane. This makes Feral Druids very, very defensively tanky in bear form. And yeah, it's 18% damage reduction. This is all damage. It's not just physical damage. So it helps against casters. When you're getting focused as a Feral Druid in PvP, one of your best options is to go bear form to reduce the damage, help your healer out. We still do take increased healing while we're in cat form though. So there's something to be considered there. But in general, if your healer is in a CC chain, taking more healing is probably not as important as taking less damage. So consider the situation. Brutal impact. This increases the duration of our bash and our pounce by 1 second. Just like rogues, pounce and maim do actually DR in Cataclysm. They didn't originally. I think they must have nerfed it partway through. I kind of forgot about that change, so I was really surprised when I got on beta to see that pounce and maim do DR. Something to be aware of. Stampede. What this does is after we use Feral Charge Cat, we're going to gain access to a free Ravage, which is really cool. So we can just use Ravage completely for free. This is really good in openers. You can kind of choose to throw this in a couple different places. I'll show you guys in the little opener section. Oh, one other important thing that I should mention about Feral Druid talents. Now, Tiger's Fury is actually going to increase our damage by 15%. So you're going to want to make sure Tiger's Fury is active when you're landing your Rake and your Rip, because throughout the entire duration of your bleeds, they're going to have that 15% damage increase, and it's going to add a lot of extra damage. It's a very, very important mechanic for Feral Druid's damage, and that is to be considered when you're, dealing openers and applying all of your bleeds. All right, for this opener, we're going to assume that we don't need Feral Charge Cat to stick on the target, so we are going to be using Feral Charge Cat to have that free Ravage, so we'll incorporate in the opener. We're going to use Pounce into Mangle, then we're going to hit Tiger's Fury, and your energy will get really close to capping here. We have to use Rake really quick, then we're going to use our free Ravage. This should land us at 5 combo points, and we can then use Rip, and all of those bleeds will be applied during the Tiger's Fury. And yeah, you can use a Shred here in place of the free Ravage, and it still should function properly. You'll have enough energy to pull it off.
ability isn't ready yet. Still recharging. Not ready. need to get closer. It's too far away. I can't lift now. That's still recharging. Not ready yet. We can't do that yet. I can't do that yet.